Hey y'all, yes, it's me, and I'm sitting in the middle of the eating area of a Hampton Inn reporting to you live. I'm living my best news reporter life right now. But in all seriousness, this is what happens when it's Monday morning and I'm supposed to go live with the Inner Circle and I'm on the road. Do I still go live? Yes, I do. Do I go where there's the best Wi-Fi? Absolutely. Do I care if people are walking behind me in and out of my shot? Obviously not. But I'm here live reporting to you on why you start things and don't finish them. Is that you? Sometimes it's me. Let's talk about it, y'all. Come on, let's go. Hello there, my name is Chrystal Hurst, and if you've never been here before, then let me just tell you, normally I'm in a great situation with great lighting, with my great mirrorless camera, with an awesome background yellow chair. Today, I'm in the lobby of a Hampton Inn with the waffle maker behind me. Oh shoot, that's over here. Because you know what? We do what we got to do, don't we? We do what we got to do to keep this party started and to make sure you get what you need. I am here wanting to talk to you about starting things and not finishing them, because everybody I know in some way, shape, or form, in some season of their life has started things and hasn't finished them. But before I get to that, I want to make sure you know why I'm even here. So I mentioned it earlier, every Monday I go live in my Inner Circle. We have already been live now at the moment in this live recording for about an hour and 15 minutes. Fun, foolery, behind the scenes, all the things. Giving them inside scoop about what we're doing in the membership and how we're planning to move forward next year. A little laughter, a few things that I don't necessarily want on all the interwebs, all the time, everywhere. And now I'm straightening up and flying right to give content that I hope and pray helps you and shapes you to think about your life differently. I really believe in the concept that we have a lot of information, that we have sometimes too much information, and we don't actually use it. So what I like to do is come on every Monday with my membership and then share the buttoned up video with you here so that you have some of the same content, not all, but some of it. And hopefully it helps you to live your life well too. If you'd like to know more about that membership, you can simply go to thesistercircle.com/inner circle, thesistercircle.com/inner circle. I also want you to know, because I don't want you to miss out, that I'm taking a few girls, some are in the Inner Circle and some are not, to California with me in 2023. The date is approaching quickly. We're going to be going the third weekend in October from the 19th through the 22nd. It will be an opportunity for you to not only make room for God, but make room for yourself, make room for new friends, make room for fun, make room for community. We've already had one of our levels fill up, and there's still some room. So if you'd like to join me in person with a bunch of women who want to, based on their faith, learn more about how to live life well and honestly make space to hear from God, because sometimes you just can't hear well when the noise is out there in the world, you're invited to join me at the retreat. You can simply go to thesistercircle.com/retreat to find out more information. The reason why it's important to be in the Inner Circle, if you think you're going to join, if you're going to come to the retreat, is because the only people that will be VIPs, the only women that will be VIPs at the retreat are those that are in the Inner Circle. So you have to be in the Inner Circle when you register and in the Inner Circle at the time of the retreat. And then we've got some special things planned for you. All right. So enough ado about all that. Listen, y'all, I am the queen of starting things. Like right now, I have a book in my hand that I'm reading, but this is one of 5 books I'm currently reading. And all 5 books I have started, and then I got a little bit bored, maybe a slightly ADD'd, and I picked up another book and started reading. So I've been on a road trip. This is why we're staying in the Hampton Inn. And I have been reading a chapter or 2 in each book and then rotating through them, because I'm like, if not being bored is what's going to help me to keep going, then that's what we're going to need to do. But I'm the queen of starting things and not finishing. I have started a master's in education, didn't finish. I started an MBA, didn't finish. I even started a seminary degree, haven't finished yet. I intend to finish that one. And maybe I'll go back to another master's degree at another time. I love learning. But y'all, listen, time is not necessarily on my side. I still believe I have many years to live. But at the tender age of 50 something, I feel like whatever I plan on finishing, I need to get to it. Life is very short to start and not finish things and have a littering of all these things behind you that you meant to do that you never accomplished. So why is it that we do that? Why is it that we start things and don't finish them? And how can you start finishing the things that you've begun? Well, I want to talk to you a little bit about that today. Now, I'm not perfect at it, but I do think I've lived long enough to have some thought about what you can do to set the deck in your favor. Number one, you need to know your why. Not just that you're going to do something, but that you actually that you have a strong reason for needing to accomplish it in a certain amount of time. Okay. You need to know your why. So I can give you an example. My mom was alive when I started my seminary degree. Had I kept up with the time frame that I was supposed to have finished it in, she would have seen me graduate. I have said time and time again that I don't want that to happen a second time, that I want to get my seminary degree started again, and then I want to graduate so that my father can come to my graduation. I would like that. So my why, of course, is that I want to develop my knowledge theologically, but another why is that I want to do it in time enough for my father to see me walk across the stage. Now, I can't control that. I can't determine what God has planned for his life or mine. And the reason why I didn't finish the seminary degree is because life happened. I ended up in the hospital 2 years in a row, and then we had a string of deaths. It was beyond my control. So I don't feel bad that I couldn't do it, but it certainly gives me a framework for wanting to prioritize it now. What is your why for wanting to do it? And if you don't finish it, what will the feeling be? What will the miss be? What will the sorrow be? Focus on the opportunity that you have right now to begin something and how you will feel the regret if you don't finish it later. Many times we don't think about that. We just think about how we feel right now. Do you know how many people start a race, a literal race, a race on a running track and don't finish well because they get tired and they focus on how they're feeling, or their muscle starts hurting and they focus on how they're feeling? The winners will always focus on the finish. This is why anybody in leadership, whether you're leading your family, you're leading a business, you're leading a ministry, you're leading a team, you're leading a group, you have to have in your mind, what is the finish line? And when you have the finish line in mind and you couple that with how will I feel about my life when I finish? Do you remember that Yoplait commercial? It used to play for years, where this lady would hang a bathing suit on the wall and she'd walk by it every day and she'd stick a spoon in her Yoplait and she'd pause in front of her bathing suit and look at her bathing suit. And then she would keep going. And she did that for months until one day she walks past it and she pulls the bathing suit off the wall. Why? Because she kept her why in front of her. There's a lot of things that you can do in this world. In fact, there's a lot of things that keep us busy in this world that we have no business doing with our time. If you think about your why, is there a why tied to your phone and to social media? For many of us, it may be related to work, or maybe it's keeping up with family. But the amount of hours that we spend on social media, does that equate to the why that you have? Probably not. What are the things in your life that you have a finish line in mind for, but you don't do a good job keeping that finish line in front of you? How can you keep that finish line in front of you? I know that sometimes our whys can be negative realities. I know one person in my life that all of a sudden got their health together. For years, they were trying to lose weight. For years, they were talking about eating healthy. For years, they talked about avoiding sugar. And you want to know what finally made them get their life together? Someone that they loved got sick. And they got sick and infirmed with a particular disease that this person, this friend of mine, knew that they were headed towards if they didn't stop the train. They watched what happened in someone else's life and they said, I so don't want that finish line. What path, what train track, what diversion do I have to take to not end up there? Sometimes we know what we want in life because we see what we want. Sometimes we know what we want in life because we see what we don't want. Either way, either path can help you craft your why. So what do you want in life? And are you actively working towards it? What do you not want in life? And are you actively working to move in the opposite direction? One of the other things that can help you with starting and finishing things is to have a plan. One of the reasons why I even have a planner. It's a 90-day planner. We sold out of it last year. We're going to have more available this year. Right now, it's in the store if you want a digital copy, but the physical copies are coming. Is because people would ask me all the time, Chrystal, how do you accomplish things in your life? And I would say, well, I always put the main goal in front of me, and then I come up with a 90-day plan. Even if my goal is a year long, I come up with a 90-day plan because a year is a long time. And I want to think of my life in 90-day sprints and say, even if I'm not finished with the big goal, what can I be finished with in 90 days? Give yourself a plan, not just what you're going to achieve, but how you're going to achieve it. Many of the principles that I talk about inside of the membership have to do with exactly that. Not just set a goal, girl, but also how are we going to break that goal down? How are you going to find the pieces of that so that you can move forward? If I want to, and when I'm in the mood to focus on losing weight, right, I can pick the number of pounds that I would like to see for the year. But then I break that down into the number of pounds that I'd like to see in 90 days. And then I break that down into the number of pounds that I'd like to see in a month. And then I break that down to the actions I'm going to take this month to achieve that result. And I realize that you may think that everything in your life can't be broken down that way, but that's not true. Everything can. If you said, I want to be a better wife, okay, that doesn't have a measurable outcome until it does. How will you know that you're a better wife? Well, when my husband and I have regular conversations, okay, well, then that's a 90-day goal. So what are you going to do over the next month to facilitate conversation? And who are you going to be during the month? What actions are you going to take to facilitate conversation? Listen, people don't want to hear this, but if his stomach is full, and you take care of him every once in a while in the womanly way, if you're married, that might open the door to some of the conversations that you want to have. I mean, literally, like you think about it to the detail. So I go into a lot of detail in that in the inner circle. But if you have a plan for your action, then that's going to help you get there. You can't just set a goal. What is the word? There's a quote that says a goal without a plan is just a wish. And you can wish all day to finish things, but you won't finish them if you don't have a clear view of your finish line. And if you don't have a plan for how you're going to get there. A plan, though, that is the track that the train stays on. You know what I mean? You can want to get from one city to another, but if you are the train, if you are the vehicle, you need a track to run on, and your plans are your tracks. It tells you how you're going to get there, and it shows you how you're going to weave in and out of the territory as it happens. I realize that sometimes planning is hard, but I can promise you that if you start with some kind of planning, if you start with creating some kind of path, the rest of the path will open up for you. God has a way of meeting people who are in motion. Now, the Bible doesn't say if you take one step, God will take two. People say that all the time, but that is not in the Bible. But the principle is true that God does love to hit a moving target. He is looking to and fro for someone he can use. He is looking who is trying to, with the best of the information that they have and with the skill that they have, with the knowledge that they have, who is trying to move the needle forward, who is trying to benefit and better their life with what they have. Trust me, when you start moving what you don't have, God can give you. When you start creating plans and doing what you can with the light that you have, God can give you more light. If you run out of answers, God can give you answers. But if you have no vision and if you have no plan, then you're not giving God anything to work with. I always tell my children, when they were in elementary school and then junior high and then high school, and now that they're even in college, I want you to be successful. It is not my job, though, to do the work for you. It is not my job to finish the degree. That's your job. But can I help clear some pathways for you? Can I give you some counsel? Can I give you some wisdom? Absolutely, because I want you to finish well. God is the same way. He's like, listen, there's some work that you're going to have to do, but am I willing to help clear some paths for you, give you some answers, give you some support? Absolutely. So have some kind of plan and then move on the knowledge you have. So I have a question for you. What are you going to do over the next 90 days to reach the goals that are important to you? I know that you can set out strong and do something for the next 7 days. I know you can create a big goal for the year, but just think in terms of 90 days. What could you do to move things forward in your life definitively? And I want you to have goals. I want you to live with defined points of finishing, because if you don't have a plan and you don't have a goal, you're just wishing. But here's what I know to be true. Sometimes in order to identify your goals, line up your plans, or dream a little bigger, you've got to create the space for it. You've got to sit at home on a Saturday, or you've got to get up early in the morning, or maybe you go for a walk and let your mind just dream. But sometimes, for me, y'all, I got to get out of Dodge. I got to leave the laundry behind. I've got to make sure my family's taken care of. And I just need to get away for a couple days, 2 or 3 days, to think bigger, to think deeper, to think longer. So if that's something that you'd like to do, I want to give you an opportunity to do that with me. I'd love to have you come to California with me in October the 19th through the 22nd. I'm going to be gathering together with other women who want to do the same thing. Get amongst the trees, near the water, in a different spot, with other women who love Jesus, but who also want to see intentionality lived out in their lives. So all you have to do to find out more information is to go to thesistercircle.com/retreat. And here's what you need to know, y'all. Registration closes September the 30th. So if you've been hearing about it, what are you waiting on? If this is your first time hearing about it, don't wait. Register today. If you don't join me there, figure out how you can create the space to dream, to plan, to set goals, and to decide how you're going to move forward. Your life is too precious to operate just wishing for things to come true. And you have been given the power to make some decisions in concert and in coordination with the God who loves you and actually dreams bigger dreams for you than you could even ever dream for yourself. But you have to make sure you're able to hear. Get away at home or get away with me. Either way, make room to dream. All right, y'all. Here we go. What other help is there out there for people who start things and don't finish them? Well, micro rewards along the way help. Like, give yourself something to look for. You know, if you're trying to lose weight, a cheat meal, sometimes you look forward, not a cheat day, cheat meal. Give yourself little micro wins along the way. Celebrate along the way. And give yourself a pat on the back for the attempt. And even if things are not moving the way that you should, you have to celebrate and acknowledge your efforts. Because if you're constantly working towards something that's way out in the future, even if it's finishing a book, right? Sometimes I'll be reading a book and I'll tell myself, girl, finish 2 more chapters. Finish 2 more chapters. And after that, you can take a break and Google all the things. So I have a piece of paper and a pen and I write down all the things that I want to Google. You know, the reality is, y'all, we can plan our distractions. So most of the time we don't start and finish things because we get distracted with something else, even if it's our own comfort. So instead of fighting against the distractions, just plan for them. What are the things you want to do? What are the things you're going to do anyway? Well, give yourself a stopping point and then plan for it. There is a technique called the Pomodoro technique. You can download apps for this. You can look online, just Google it. But basically the idea, and I've used this for writing, is that you give yourself a set amount of time to write. So let's say it's 25 minutes or it's 55 minutes. And then after that, you give yourself a 10-minute break. And then you come back in and you write for another hour or 30. You can set up the times for whatever you want, but you do work, you take a break. You do work, you fix your lunch. You do work, you do your laundry. You do work, you watch a quick episode on YouTube from somebody that you follow. You do work, you take a break for the rest of the day. But you know that the time is coming to an end. So you focus. It is a focusing technique. And what they have mastered here with this Pomodoro technique is simply this. Eventually, you're going to have a break and you're going to put something in that break that gets you excited about finishing. Give yourself big goals, little goals, plan for reaching those goals, and small wins. Okay? So instead of allowing the distractions to decide when you give them your attention, you decide which distractions you're going to give into. And then you give yourself a time frame, a weekend, a time of day, a time of the month where you're going to go ahead and give into that distraction. What is it that you want to do? Sometimes I think we set ourselves up for failure because we have these goals and we have no plan for breaks, no plan for relaxation, no plan for celebration, no plan for checking in with ourselves. Just plan the break-in, plan for it. If you don't start with the end in mind, you'll never reach it. If you don't start with the plan, it will be difficult to reach it. If you don't start knowing how you're going to take breaks, it'll be difficult. Even more difficult to reach it. So when I ran my marathon, y'all, when I was doing race training, they would tell you part of the practice wasn't just the running. It was, how do you run up the hill? How do you run down the hill? How do you alter your pace so that you can finish? The goal never changed, but sometimes my pace was, and I'm a slow runner, y'all. Sometimes my pace was a 13-minute mile. Sometimes it was an 11-minute mile, but I would ebb and flow my pace to accommodate with my need. Sometimes I would, work hard to get up those hills, and then I would be able to take a break going down those hills. I shifted my energy while always working out my plan, while always working towards the finish line. So if you start weight loss programs and you don't finish, is the goal too big? Have you not broken it down? Are you not giving yourself little wins? What typically gets you off track? Well, decide in advance. Don't let the event derail you. Decide in advance. Decide in advance, I'm going to the family reunion this weekend and I'm going to eat whatever I want. Because if you fall off and then you say, oh, I fell off, well, I suck. Or if you plan to study this weekend and you ended up hanging out with your friends, and so then you didn't make a good grade on your test on Monday and Tuesday, instead of falling into the mistake, just decide, I am going to go this weekend and have a good time with my friends. And this is the one test this semester that I'm just not going to worry about. The difference is that you put yourself in the driver's seat. The difference is that you'll become powerful. You'll be the person who did not start and not finish. You'll be the person who started and decided what you were going to do along in your plan as you continue to make your way to the finish line. It's about perspective and who you are as you move through your life. Start with a goal. Start with a plan. Celebrate your small wins. Okay. I think it's really important for you to have community and accountability. Your likelihood of finishing a book goes up exponentially when you read it with other people. In the membership, we know, because our statistics tell us, that I can put self-guided content out there all day, and people in our membership love our self-guided content. You can do it. You can do anything in our membership at any time, but these are designed for you to do on your own. Everything else in our membership, when we have 21-day adventures or 90-day challenges, or when we have coaching for a month with me or with another one of our sister circle encouragers, these things we do together. The completion rates are higher. The engagement is higher. The success rates are higher. Why? Because they're doing them together. Something happens when you do it with other people. So I would say find your people. Read a book in the context of a book club. Lose weight with other friends. Check in every Friday. Decide that you're going to go for a walk because you want to increase your stamina. You're going to do that 3 times a week and meet a different friend each time. But you'll show up if that person is meeting you. I did a trainer twice. I've done a trainer twice. I hate it. I hate paying somebody to make me do something that I can do on my own. But you want to know why it works? Because I paid for it. And I set up a date and appointment, and I'm not going to throw away my money. And I'm also not going to leave them hanging. Coaching, whether you do it with an individual, you do it in a group, like the women who are doing it in the inner circle, what it does is give you accountability. 9 times out of 10, the coaches that I know say that the people that they work with have the answer. They just need someone to hold them accountable or to ask them the right question so they discover the answer they didn't know they had. We need accountability. So look around. Who else is doing what you're doing, or who else do you want to invite to do what you're doing? Who else do you want to invite into the process? Who else do you want to be willing to be vulnerable and to say, I messed up yesterday? I have a girlfriend of mine that's in this weight loss program right now. It is this free program that she stumbled upon because you can only get into it by invite only. It's huge. There are thousands of people that are in this, but this is a program, y'all, that ain't rocket science. What do you think? I mean, she has lost all this weight. What do you think is helping you to win right now? And she says 3 things: community, accountability, and responsibility. I'm in this group every week with these women. We meet for, 6 weeks. If you miss a meeting, you're out. Every Saturday, you're supposed to weigh in. You take a picture of your scale, you send it in. Every Saturday, if you don't send in your picture, you're out. I said, is there anything rocket science about the plan? She said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. She said, the difference is that I'm doing what I know to do already in the context of community. I'm very clear about what my responsibility is. And also, I'm held accountable. If I don't do this, I'm out. And the person who created this group said to the Lord, if you will help me to get this weight off of me, then my payback to you is to help other people get it off. So he says, since I'm doing this for free, if you don't want to take this that seriously, then get out, because somebody else wants your spot. I don't know if you know this, but many people, Bible study fellowship started because a woman who started it was a missionary, came off the mission field, started teaching women the Bible in her home. And one of her rules were, because as her home filled up and there was no space for anyone, she said, as if you don't want to be here, if you can't be here, then get out. Because my house is full and there is someone else who wants your spot. They actually want to learn the Bible. They'll actually do the lessons. They'll actually take this seriously. If you're not taking this seriously, get out. I'm in a coaching group for myself. It's for leadership. It's for business. It is for helping to keep me focused. And there was a specific add-on program that I decided to join. You want to know what one of the rules are? If you don't show up to every one of our meetings, you're out. Because they're building community there. I am telling you, if you will put some structure and some accountability and some responsibility around whatever it is that you're wanting to do to be seen, you will find yourself doing better at finishing things that you start. There is no magic pill. It's just the decision that you want to finish. And you put things around you. You put boundaries around you. You put supports around you so that you can actually finish well. If you are unwilling to be vulnerable and let people know you made a mistake, you won't finish. If you are unwilling to be transparent and to let people know that you started it and stopped, then you'll never start again. This is not about condemnation. This is not about you feeling like a horrible person. This is about you setting yourself up for success, and everybody needs support. Everyone needs support. It's choosing to give yourself the support that you need. And sometimes, y'all, it's just as small as when I finish reading this chapter or reading this book or getting through today's assignment, I'm going to allow myself to play this video game or watch this show. Even now, my youngest son, we have 5 children, and out of the 5, we're left with 1. We just dropped 2 boys off at college, and the 2 girls above them are grown and living their own lives. I don't know what to do with 1 kid. I don't know how to cook for 1 kid. This is about to be a mess. But we were doing some of his schoolwork. He's still homeschooled as of this year. And we were on this road trip, and he was doing his schoolwork. And he said, Mom, how much do I want to do? And I said, well, he said, how much do I need to do? And I said, well, why don't you we're going to be on the road today for 5 hours. Why don't every hour you do a 1/4 of your assignment? And in between the start of the next hour and the end of that assignment, you break out your video games. What? I could do that 4 times? Yep, sure. Sometimes you need to give yourself a carrot. Sometimes you need to give yourself a fence. Sometimes you need to give yourself a pat on the back. What I can guarantee you is that if you will start to be intentional, half of the battle is intentionality. We start and don't finish things because we even forget what the thing is that we started last week. If you give what you're starting some focus, and if you give yourself a finish line, and if you give yourself some small wins, if you give yourself a plan, if you give yourself community, accountability, and some responsibility, you will raise the ante so much higher, increase your chances by so much for you actually finishing it. You can finish the class. You can finish the degree. You can finish cleaning your house. You can finish losing the weight. You can finish having the hard conversation. You can finish reading that book. You can finish getting that certification. But there are some decisions that you're going to have to make in your life to make room for your finish. You are going to have to focus. You are going to have to say no. But every time you say no to something that you want to do, you have the capacity then to give yourself a yes for the things you actually don't want to do, but you will be glad you did later. You are capable of finishing. There is nothing that other people who finish have that you don't have. What they may have figured out how to do is to activate the muscle of motivation or the muscle of discipline or the muscle of decision making. And the key thing there is it's a muscle. What does that mean? You can develop it. So don't start and think, I'm going to declutter my whole house tomorrow. Don't start and say, I'm going to finish the book tomorrow. Don't give yourself a goal that says, I'm going to lose 100 pounds in, 6 months. Decide what means something to you. Because if you can start with one thing, let me tell you what that one thing becomes. And Charles Duhigg in his book called Habit talks about this. You want a domino effect. Pick one thing in your life, because if that one thing moves you forward, you will begin to tell yourself, I'm a person who starts things and finishes things. Pick small, pick easy, pick doable, pick definite win, and give yourself a first domino. You need to start learning how to look at your life and go, oh, I'm the business. I'm the whole business. I did that thing. And once you start giving yourself small wins, once you start giving yourself small wins, I finished this book. I lost the 5 pounds. I invited the friends over. I didn't clean up the whole house, but I did straighten up the Tupperware cabinet kitchen. I did clean out one area of my closet. I did register for the class. Whatever it is, you will start communicating to yourself that you are the person who finishes things. Last thing I want to say is you need to talk to yourself like you're a finisher. Quit saying I don't finish things. Quit being a self-fulfilling prophecy. Start saying I'm a finisher who needs to continue to learn how to set myself up for that success. I'm a person who will be healthy. I'm moving towards health in body and mind and soul and spirit. And I have to learn how to make some new dishes. Oh, I'm going to get the degree. I just have to figure out how to start again and what my degree plan now needs to be this semester, because I'm starting over and it's been a while. Talk to yourself differently. You have to learn, and I learned this from this John Gordon book I'm reading called The Positive Leader. You have to learn to talk to yourself more than you listen to yourself. Your brain is going to always be in survival mode. And survival modes that if I constantly tell myself what I can't do, that's defeating and depressing. Survival mode would say, just avoid the things that make you feel that way. But that's not actually thriving. Thriving is to meet the things that make you feel that way head on and to decide to conquer them. To become a person of decision, to become a person who does not need to wait on motivation to make decisions, to exercise discipline. But once they exercise discipline, that motivates them to do the next thing. You can be that person. I need to be that person. So I'm a finisher of books that I start. I'm a finisher of businesses that I create. I'm a finisher of health journeys that I enter. I'm a finisher. Now, I may need to put some blocks on my schedule so I have time to write. I may need to meal plan better so that I eat better. I may need to create the space on my calendar and protect it with my life to go walking in the morning. I may need to figure out and learn and invest in coaching for myself to learn how to be a new leader so that I don't stall out midway, that I don't become one of those many, many, many failed small businesses. Why do they start and stop? Because the small business owners go, oh, we didn't know it was going to be this hard and we don't know how to level up. So I can choose to be the person that levels up. Who do you have to decide to be to interpose who you are in between your start and your finish? Because you do realize that's the real thing, right? It's not about your start and your finish. It's about the person that takes it from start to finish. And if you need a little help to do that, then go get it. There are a million coaches and business consultants and advisors and health leaders, and there's Weight Watchers, and there's Jenny Craig, and then there's Meal Plan that gets delivered to your door, and then there's people that get paid in academia to sit down with you and figure out how you can get to the finish line. Or there are people who would love to enter a book club with you. Instead of looking at what you started and didn't finish, look at who you have to be, what you have to do, in order to add finishing juice to the list of things of who you are. You are a finisher, my dear. You just may need to figure out how to align yourself with the habits, responsibilities, and decisions that finishers have. Here's what I know to be true. If you will commit to one thing in your life, finishing it because you started it or starting it because you had in mind to finish it, if you will commit to one small thing and finish it, it could be something you could finish today. You will begin today to changing the narrative about how you see yourself. And once you change the narrative and actually believe that you're a finisher, then what you'll realize is nothing is impossible with God. I hope this has been helpful. I hope you are revved up to restart that thing that you stopped, to be a committed person to the finish. And I hope you know you can't just wish it. You got to plan for it. I hope you know you can't just plan for it. You have to identify the steps for how you're going to do it. I hope you know that you might not need to do it by yourself and you may need to get your people. Get your people, girl. Then at the end of all of this, what I want you to be is a woman who lives with little to no regret. How do you do that? By being very intentional with what you do, with the desires that are in your heart and the dreams that you start that you mean to finish. I hope this has been helpful to you. And if it has, leave me a comment. Tell me what you've started recently that you haven't finished and one thing that you're going to do to get this party started again. I hope this was helpful. Share it with a friend and I'll see you next week.